Let's talk Social Security reform, enhancing the benefits and extending the solvency. Last week, there was a committee hearing on protecting Social Security. And in that hearing, I'm going to be sharing with you some video footage. They mentioned that the last time that they had reformed massively and made big changes to Social Security was in 1983, literally 2 months with time left. That was it. Now, we still have several years ahead of us, but we hope that they do not wait that long, as 2023 is supposed to be the year of Social Security reform. And in that committee hearing, take a look at this. There was a suggestion made. Let me know your thoughts.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, I also want to thank you for holding this hearing, but also recognize we're just barely scratching the surface. What's frustrating to me is there's just so much basic fundamental information we need to convey to the American public, the misperceptions of the Social Security program, that we need to spend some time before we can start getting into all the details that have been brought up by our witnesses. So what I would suggest, rather than this format where we just kind of talk by each other, I've got 4.5 minutes left to make probably about 20 minutes worth of points. We ought to schedule an all-day roundtable and have a discussion, as Senator Murray talked about. Let's get this all out on the table.
So what do you think about that suggestion? Having an all-day roundtable to discuss protecting, conserving, extending out Social Security. Now, this meeting was just a couple hours long, and they're saying they need more time, but I've got an extra one for them. How about this? How about they have an all-day meeting where they lock the doors and they're not allowed to come out until they resolve the Social Security issue? When we literally have tens of millions of Americans depending on these benefits, this makes up for a lot of people almost their entire income. They're depending on this. It's falling short of inflation, which has been record highs. Why don't they make sure that it gets done and make it a priority? Now, that's what we're going to hear vocalized here from Tom Cole in this hearing. I'm going to be sharing with you a segment, a clip where he discusses how it was 1983 when the last massive changes were made, and we do not want to wait until there's only 2 months left before we hit the end of the solvency. We need to take care of this right away, and we heard that it was going to be done in 2023. Now, we have seen a lot of bills, a lot of proposals. I've let you know that the Social Security 2100 Act has been reintroduced 6 times now. And take a look, it's in the news right now. Just coming out yesterday, with Social Security funds running dry, Connecticut Democrats push for reform. There's 708,000 people in Connecticut, about 20% of the state's population, that receive benefits according to December data. With thousands of older Americans qualifying for Social Security every day and more people relying solely on those benefits for income, federal lawmakers are raising concerns about the lack of action on Social Security and the risks associated with financial instability. The issue of Social Security comes up regularly in Congress, but there has so far been very little consensus between the parties on how exactly to keep it financially afloat. Members of Connecticut's delegations are reigniting their push to strengthen the government program and, at the very least, pressure members to take votes on the proposed reforms. So you can see there is still a push. The Social Security 2100 Act has been reintroduced 6 times. We've also had the Social Security Expansion Act by Bernie Sanders and several other pieces of legislation as well. Now, let's take a look at this committee hearing. I'm going to be sharing with you what Tom Cole had to say as he vocalizes reform is needed. They should not wait till the last second. And he also says bipartisan support is going to be required to get this done. So Democrats and Republicans are going to have to come together and do this for the American people. And he says that a lot of the things that were considered back in 1983 should also be reconsidered, as he's saying that this is probably going to be the solution that they need to go forward. Now, let's take a look at this footage, but before we do me a quick favor, smash the like button if you appreciate the updates, hit subscribe to stay up to date. It's totally free, why not? And also to get the latest on Social Security raises. Be sure to stick around to the end for some more info on that. But let's take a look at this video footage.
Very much, Mr. Speaker. I yield myself such time as I may consume. Just want to state for the record, I certainly have no objection to defending Social Security and Medicare. As a matter of fact, for I think 6 Congresses in a row, I have introduced legislation. It was originally drawn up with my good friend John Delaney, former Democratic member, on doing just that, on trying to save Social Security. And what we proposed is what we did back in 1983 that actually worked, extended the life of Social Security for almost half a century, which would be to actually, let's do a commission, let's make a set of reasonable reforms. I would put revenue on the table, personally. I think that has to be part of it. It certainly was then. But again, my friends haven't been very serious about reforming Social Security, in my view. And to be fair, I don't think anybody has been. We've been trying to get people to look at this problem for a long time. I would invite my friend from New York or any of my Democratic colleagues to look at what we've proposed. Again, proposed originally with a Democratic co-sponsor, and think, because it's the only way we're going to get there. It's going to have to be a bipartisan sort of deal. That's what Ronald Reagan, Tip O'Neill, and Howard Baker did back in that time frame. We should do the same thing. So to say we're not interested in Medicare and Social Security is just simply wrong. And again, I'm the last guy probably to say it to, because I've consistently put a proposal to try and move forward in that regard. I will say this: in 1983, when they saved it, they were within 2 months of it going broke. We should learn a lesson, not going broke, but having to make the cuts that you make to adjust your outflow to the revenue coming in. We've got 10 years. We ought to take care of that. Unfortunately, not enough people seem to be interested. That includes the President of the United States, who back in 1983 actually voted for that commission to be created, and then voted to accept its recommendations. The current White House says it doesn't want to do any commissions, and it politicizes the issues. I see this on both sides of the aisle, Mr. Speaker, where people tell us they want to protect Social Security. Well, if you want to protect it, you're going to have to legislate on it, because it's steadily becoming less solvent over the years. Also, to my friend from New York's remark about the focus on military spending, I just would point out to the House the total budget in the NDAA that's proposed this year is actually the one the President recommended. And I personally think it's too low. I would have gone higher. I'd be the first to tell you that. But the number that the committee chose is the President's number. So for those of my friends that are critical of, quote unquote, how much is being spent, I would suggest you direct your concerns to the White House, because the Appropriations Committee took the President's recommended number. Again, if we think we're misfocused, your first argument is with the President of the United States, not with your colleagues on the other side of the aisle. With that, Mr. Speaker, I would reserve the balance of my time.
Wow, let me know your thoughts. Do you agree? Should we hold President Joe Biden accountable for the fact that Social Security right now in Congress is not a priority, that he should be pushing this more? Now, we did see a 4-point plan come out from him, but a lot of people are saying that this inadvertently cuts Social Security because he does not appropriately address long-term solvency issues. And they're saying as a result, people will receive cuts if they do not reform Social Security correctly of about 20 to 25% across the board. Now, in addition to that, we also had promises come out, tweets that are still available, of $200 per month increases across the board to all recipients, which is still an unfulfilled promise by President Joe Biden and his administration. Man, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Now, in regards to raises, as I mentioned, we have heard that there would be $200 per month increases in the Social Security Expansion Act, which has not gotten as much traction as a lot of people had hoped as a result of it not necessarily aligning with President Joe Biden's 4-point plan. He has not backed that bill because of the taxation measures. However, the Social Security 2100 Act almost aligns exactly with the 4-point plan. We've heard that there could be increases of $485 for baseline benefits, 2% across the board. And to get the latest on that, be sure to check out this video right here as I cover it in detail for you on increases to Social Security, what's included in the 2100 Act. But you guys, I will be sure to keep you up to date on this, as we did have a hearing come up. This is supposed to be the year of Social Security reform, and right now we're in July, and a lot of people are saying, where's the reform? Where's the traction on the legislation? Well, you guys, I will keep you up to date every step of the way. But that is the latest. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will catch you in the next video. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.